Hello my friends. We are a bit later because I have been clarting on in the sunshine chair. Welcome. It's lovely to have you. You are most welcome into our front room. And I'm trying to sort this out for you. That's a bit better. Wendy, it's lovely to have you. Welcome. Do you like the sunshine seat? I shall show you. There's a good tale about boundaries, blessings and burnouts with this seat, but it's very comfortable. It's very high and it's beautifully positioned. So it fits us giants very well. Tell me how you are. Tell me how you're doing. How's this weekend planned for you? I hope it's all right. Sonia, very nice to have you. Welcome. This is not my normal abode. Normally I'm in my sunshine study, but this is my sunshine seat, which is not easy to say. I'll just show it to you. There you are. She's looking very lovely there. And I'm Dr. Rebecca, the Life Joy Coach and author, and I help brave and brilliant people transform their burnout into balance and then blessings. And true to form, the dog is now trying to eat the remote control and the phone. So I knew I shouldn't have had her in here. She just can't leave it alone. I shall bring her on in a minute. Christ, I'm on a Facebook Live, please. Thank you. She has had many antics today. Pat, it's lovely to have you. Welcome. This is the sunshine seat. It's lovely to be with you. I hope you're all as comfortable as you can be. So I'm Dr. Rebecca, the Life Joy Coach and author, and I help brave and brilliant people transform their burnout into balance and then hopefully some blessings so that they can live a richer, more joyous and more peaceable life. So normally I talk on Fridays about topics that help build your life joy. And life joy stands for love, integrity, fortitude, energy, joy, order and you. And the world needs more of you. And to have more of you, we often need to have less of you. And that means that you have balance, boundaries, and we protect you from burnt out areas of your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being. So I've got some things to tell you. Oh, Sarah, it's lovely to see you. My love to you all. You've had such a time. Very welcome. This is the front room. This is the sunshine seat. We've just had it recovered. I've got a nice story to tell you about it. And I've also got a nice story to tell you about the picture. That's Bamburgh Castle in Northumberland, in the northeast of England. And it's truly one of the most beautiful beaches you would ever see. So I shall tell you about that picture, but I'll tell you about the sunshine seat first. Today I wanted to talk about issues of balance and blessings and self-worth. Because when you have a balanced life, you have a blessed life. And even in difficult times, there are always blessings. But what you also do is you build self-worth. And when you have built self-worth, that builds boundaries, which then builds your resistance. Battery's running out. This is going so well. We've got 19% and now the dog's gone to sleep. Catherine, my darling, it's lovely to see you. This is our front room. Kath, I don't think you've seen this. And this is the sunshine seat. Right, here's a story about burnout and boundaries and balance and blessings for you. Oh, I'm hoping we haven't lost any internet. There we are. Well, I bought this chair from the Revive charity shop in our local recycling centre, which we usually call the Tip in Sunderland. And it's new and it's beautiful and it's wonderfully organised. And I love going to the Tip. I love decluttering and I love donating. But I also love a charity shop. Anyway, this chair was a beigey colour and £35 in the charity shop. Now, I bought it for somebody who was in need of a high chair so that they could get out of it more easily. I brought it home and I'm going to be very careful about what I say here, but shall we say it was not received with the good grace with which it was bought. So Kev said to me quite firmly, leave it alone. So I left it alone. And that was an important boundary. Sometimes we need somebody to help us with a boundary. And then a couple of days later, he hurt his back. So he actually couldn't get on our sofa because he's a big, gangly giant, bless him with long limbs. So he sat in this chair and he sat back in it. It was actually the only chair that ever fits him. Lisa McCoy, this is the sunshine seat. I'm going to have this sunshine corner. He doesn't know it yet, but between you and me, that's what's going to happen. Lovely to see you, Lisa. All of you need to be friends with each other on here because you're all gorgeous. I know you all. So this chair, charity shop, £35. Norman, it's lovely to have you. £35 from the charity shop, and it was beige. And I have to say, it was not glamorous. And even I, who love secondhand furniture and try not to be materialistic, thought it looked a bit desperate. So I found some fabric, and which was £2 a metre. I got some fabric and I took it to be reupholstered. And this is the sunshine seat, and it looks glorious and it feels wonderful. So it was bought for somebody. It was not received with good grace. So Kevin told me to leave it alone. I left it alone and we kept it. And we kept it because he hurt his back and it was the only seat he could sit in for about a fortnight. And I've been looking at this beige seat for a long time. And then finally we got it recovered this week. Now here's the thing, is I had already bought some things for this particular person. Lola, darling, it's lovely to see you. We're talking about boundaries. This is the sunshine seat. So I had already done a lot for this particular individual, and that had not really been received with very good grace and some bad temper. So here's the interesting thing, was Kevin told me to stop. I couldn't see it. I just thought if I try harder, I'll help and I'll fix and surely it'll be all right. And he said, look, love. And whenever somebody says to you, Sarah Taylor, darling, it's lovely to see you. Where are you and how are you? Whenever somebody says to you, look, love, if Kev says that to me, it's like somebody's picked me up from the shoulders saying, come on, leave it alone. So I have much improved boundaries, but I still need some help with them. So sometimes you need somebody to say, look, love, cool it back. We'll keep the seat. And then he had a bad back, so we had to. So that's a really tiny example of overgiving, overthinking, and then being over generous. And then actually we needed it. So that's a really tiny example. And there are lots of those examples that I deal with clients all the time, because lifting this chair in and out to take it to the person I bought it for was killing me. The effort it took to get it in the car was phenomenal. So it's not going back in the car anymore. But if somebody had received it with good grace, I would have been overjoyed, and I've managed to do lots of things and it's gone well. So I'm not deterred, I'm just more discerning. Now within that was a lesson, but from every lesson we hope can come a blessing. And I talk a lot to clients about blessings. Can you write me a list of 20 blessings in your life? Can you write 50? Can you write 100? There's some homework for you. But people wonder what a blessing is, so I've just looked it up to tell you. And it said, interestingly, it had a variety of ways, but it was an impartition of something with grace in it. It was about something being very good, something lucky, something imbued with God's care, something of approval, something of encouragement, and was often said at the end of a service, a blessing to enrich you and go forward in God's care. So I think the issue here is when we count our blessings, we not only try to be one, but we also keep looking for them. So when people don't know what a blessing is, a blessing can be a huge thing, like a holiday, like a trip, like an adventure, like having a safe car, like having enough home, enough food, all of those big things that make life worthwhile. The real blessings, of course, are our relationships, I feel, our faith, our family and our friends. But here's the thing, when you can't do big things like go to work, go to holidays, go to normal things, life becomes smaller and often more contained, and therefore you need to count your even smaller blessings. So if you can write a list of 10 blessings, and these are things to be grateful for as well, but they're also gifts that just come out of the blue. But you're still able to recognize them, and that helps your self-worth. So if you're able to get up, wake up, get dressed, get washed, get fed in the morning, that's 5 already. If you've got somebody who's bothered that you're getting up, washed, dressed and fed, that's the greatest blessing there is. If you're the person being bothered for somebody else, that's even greater. Can you take yourself to the bathroom? Can you feed yourself? Have you food that you can manage and tolerate? Have you hobbies? Have you small joys of good telly, podcasts, warm curtains, a good duvet, good pillows, the dog behaving well? That indeed is a blessing, my friends. You have no idea. She's really quiet now. But if you count your blessings on an hourly basis, it does wonders for your mental health. It does wonders for your spiritual well-being and your ability to cope with what life sends us. And people think, I'm not running at full capacity. If you're running at any capacity, that's a gift and a blessing, because there are always 1,000 people that would swap. So when I looked up blessing, it was about, what the church defined it as, but I think we can expand that and use all the goodness. So why would I say self-worth, blessings and balance were all sort of converging? Well, I think there's a trajectory for us. And lots of good people, especially the people who are worn out in this world, lack self-worth. And people think self-worth is something that makes you grandiose and full of yourself. But I like self-assurance. And it's a middle ground, because there are lots of people in this world who are very arrogant and full of themselves, but probably very insecure. And there are lots of people who are in the middle ground of being self-assured, knowing their own worth and looking after people. And that is built upon self-worth and self-esteem. So how do we build that? Well, I always start with the blessings. Start with what that is in front of you, all of that you have been given. And then start with your achievements. Make me a list of 10 things you're very proud of, things you're really delighted in your life that you've managed to do. And I did this after I'd had a couple of years pretty much housebound and often in my bedroom, very sick. And suddenly, you know, I had no job, no ability to earn, no ability to do anything, and going to a shower was a success. And I say this now, I didn't say it for very many years. You know, I did 20 years, very severe ME. I went to work for 10 years and hardly anybody at work thought there was anything wrong with me. I looked really well, thank goodness. And compared to 20 years before, there was hardly anything wrong with me. I was still quite restricted compared to what I wanted to be, but I was up and going in the world and so grateful, and so joyous in my gratitude. And it was the gratitude that kept me sane. So, how do you build self-worth? Start with the blessings, start with your achievements. And again, don't make them, you can make the big hitters, the big ones, but your achievements are still very small and precious, and they sustain us. I've got 7% battery left and no lead. There you are. We're going back in the sunshine study next time. So think about where you've done well. Now, I would have 10 years ago written down that I'd got a doctorate. I was proud of that. It took so much work. It was so hard. It was so difficult to navigate. But actually the thing I'm most proud of is the care I have given my parents. And I know I've done my all. And when I die, I will go to my grave and hopefully go and meet my mother, knowing that I did my all. And as soon as you know you've done your all, you have peace. It's just the problem of not thinking your all is good enough. And that's where the tension and the imbalance comes. So if you're even a giver of 50% of you is a giver, that's a blessing to other people. Oh, we're on 7% and we're wobbling. So think about having a sensible, balanced perspective on your blessings and your achievements. And when you have that, that just drip feeds your self-worth. Now, if somebody insults you or knocks you or says something about which you're insecure, one or two of the ways to tackle that is to not let it undermine your self-worth. There's the first thing. If something's attacked you, it's not pleasant and it's not true, then you disregard it. If there's a grain of truth in it, you learn from it and you use it, but you still stay you. And one of the things about self-worth is it's like somebody screaming at you, you've got blue hair, and you think, well, I haven't got blue hair. And I saw this on Instagram the other day about, well, when you realise that they're just not true and it's just not right, it has much less of an effect on you. But if you're carrying all of this around you, like, does my hair look a bit blue? Is it a bit bad? Is it all right to have blue hair? It's wonderful to have blue hair, but I haven't got blue hair. So if all of that's going on in you and you don't know who you are, the attacks will be more difficult to deal with. And attacks are very small things, you know, and being bothered about small things trips away at your self-worth. And I have said this a million times, but I need to say it to myself and probably everybody else. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Whatever state you're in, however much you can function, whatever trials and tribulations you have had or are having, you are still mightily precious. And those difficulties make you more precious. It expands you. It helps your empathy. And when you know you are full of empathy and joy and grace and blessings to share, you have better self-worth. And you give other people permission to shine. When you're nervous about going somewhere, worried about doing something, lacking the confidence to do it, I never say to people, well, fake it till you make it, or just try and you'll be all right. What we do is we build a plan to make it all right. And one of the best things to do when you need a plan to do something that builds self-worth, boundaries, prevents burnout, builds you balance and gives you joy is to help somebody else out of a hole. So one of the things about going to something that you're nervous about or doing is that you imagine there's somebody there who's in a worse state than you, and it's your job to go and look after them. And I had to learn some very difficult lessons because when my walking was terrible, if I went to something, I couldn't walk around and chat or stand. I just had to be friends with the person who was nearest to me or sitting next to me. So I then developed lots of sentences and skills to be able to manage that. And that was a blessing and an outcome from difficult lessons. And now I can talk to anybody, I can sit next to them and I can manage. But that's because I went in nervous, unprepared, worried, frail, ill. But I knew at that core that my job to be there was to make them feel a bit less nervous themselves, reassure them, look after them. Interestingly, the power that this then gives you is enormous. And that again makes you think, oh, I went and looked after that person. I went and did this. I spoke up for my loved one. I advocated for them. All of those tiny gestures. The person who is gracious or sweet-tempered to a waitress, to a bar staff, to a carer, to the bus driver, to the delivery driver, to them. Do you have a milkman? I don't know. To the delivery drivers. I always try and offer our delivery drivers a bottle of water or a chocolate biscuit or a banana or something. Just a small act of grace and care for somebody who's often run ragged and sometimes not paid well at all. So if we think about that, that builds self-worth. When you're kind to others in a balanced way that doesn't drain the life out of you, then that builds more self-worth. More self-worth builds more blessings builds more balance. But you have to be able to be happy to manage it. There's the thing. You manage your thinking, you manage your mind, you manage your words, you manage your deeds. Now, sometimes we don't realise this and we just get carried away and burn energy and life runs away with us. But as soon as we can come back to that place of centre, gravitas, thinking, wisdom, morality, spirituality, faith, joy and love, we're working from a much more solid base. And able to say, yes, thank you, I would love to, or no, thank you, I can't. And those are the magic words and boundaries that we often need. And sometimes you need some stronger ones. Sometimes you say, I don't think that's acceptable, or that's not acceptable. And sometimes you need to be able to say, that's not all right. So it's about adapting to the situation, knowing who you are and what you can offer. 3 more tips, I've got 7% left, to build self-worth. Stop apologising and stop over-apologising. Now, I love humility and I love sincere apologies when they're due, but you don't have to apologise for being who you are. You don't have to apologise for being in the space that you possess. And one of the lovely tips to do that is to just first be aware of when you're doing it, and secondly, replace sorry with thank you. So if you are inevitably held up in traffic and you can't get somewhere, it's wise to say, I'm sorry, I'm late, but you can turn that round to thank you for waiting for me. I had this problem. And then you set a track record where you're not late again when there are circumstances you can control. So if you think about the swapping the sorry for thank you, that's a very powerful tool for building self-worth. The other one, if somebody gives you a compliment, just say thank you. Do not rebut them. Do not correct them. Do not undermine them. Allow that person the blessing of giving you a compliment. I told somebody yesterday they looked lovely and they looked at me like I was an alien, and they were obviously so rare. It was so short of praise that if somebody said something sincerely to them, it was, they sat back like this. Pat Horton, delivery drivers are wonderful. They are, yes. So don't brush compliments off. And if somebody says you look lovely, you say thank you. So do you. Or somebody says, I like your jumper, you say thank you, it's my favourite. Or you don't say it was £2 in the charity shop, or it was £1 in the sale, or any of those things. You just accept the compliment with good grace. When I tell brave people they're brave, they almost always sit back and look at me like, I'm not brave, I'm not brave. I have seen the bravest and the best of people. Tens of thousands of people have been through my care for funeral services, hundreds and hundreds of one-to-one clients with life coaching and counselling. I can now discern courage very easily and very well. And brave people never know they're brave. Everybody watching here is brave because I know you all. I love you too, Kath, you're the best. So brave people, never know they're brave, and when you do tell them, they're shocked. So let me tell you now, you're doing very well. You're very brave and you're very blessed. I'm not a fan of the word brave in certain uses. I agree. It's not brave. Charlotte, it's lovely to have you. I agree. I like the word courage and I like the word fortitude, because fortitude is resilience on steroids. But it's very easy to say, oh, I did a brave thing. Brave thing is not changing your shoes or your makeup or your hair. Bravery is standing up for a loved one. Bravery is enduring treatment that's nasty and not making any fuss. Bravery is giving when you've got not much to give. There are bigger definitions of it, I think, and I think our culture and society needs to remember that. So, next top tip first, building self-worth. If you get compliments, it does, Norman, you're volunteering, absolutely, that's the whole point. It's the whole point, it's the giving from such difficulty and your gorgeous family. When people give you compliments, accept them. So when I tell people that they're courageous and brave and wise and they've done well, people don't pull a funny face. Just smile and let it sink in. I've got still 7% and the dog's asleep. I'll bring her on in a minute. 3 more seconds. Don't rebuff compliments, and give them sincerely, and give good reviews where you can, when you can. It makes such a difference to people's businesses. Testimonials really are the lifeblood. And here's the other thing, is I particularly try not to tell people that they look pretty or well done for, external things. I try and tell people, well done for your valour, well done for your sincerity, well done for your empathy, especially with children, that we're not building external self-worth, we're building internal self-joy, love and appreciation. People always used to say to me, "Bah, you've got big," when I was little, and what they really meant was that I got tall. But when you tell a 6-year-old they're big, it's not the wisest thing. Or, "You're full of life, aren't you?" And it wasn't said wisely or graciously sometimes. And I think, yes, I am full of life and I'm pleased with it and I'm proud of it and I am not embittered. Or "She's too full of herself." They used to say that when I was a very little girl. Far too impetuous, far too enthusiastic. And I think, enthusiasm has served me well, and you're not enthusiastic and I don't want to be like you. And that's a nice boundary I've got now. If you're nervous, if you're worried, if you're anxious, if your self-worth is low, find something where somebody has said something lovely about you and say it to yourself on repeat. Say to the person you love most, "What's good about me?" And build on that, these tiny seeds of goodness, and then your light shines ever brighter and you can do it for more people. And find the balance between intellect and intuition. Sniff it out with the logic for your intellect and sniff it out with your intuition and your feelings and your gut response to things. And when you do that, you have more achievements, you make better decisions, you build better boundaries, you build better relationships, and it all snowballs. Does that mean life is easy, fair, unicorns and rainbows? Samantha Dewar, it's lovely to see you. I've been using some of your washi tape today. Go and look at Charlotte's is Mini Mixers Cakes. Go and look at Samantha Dewar, who is Rowan Tree. Go and just be friends with each other because you're gorgeous. I've still got 7%, who knew? And the other thing is, building self-worth comes on lots of micro movements and actions. Wave at people, smile, say hello. We have a little train thing that goes around our park that the kids ride on in the summer. And from the other side of the park, I always wave at the kids because it makes me so happy. And when I wave, the little grandmas and grandpas are like, "Oh, crazy lady waving." But it makes for joy. These tiny things make for lovely moments, which are then blessings. And the best bit of all about that train is that the woman who drives the train, the little engine on the front, gives me a peep when we go past. It just fills my soul. Get a peep, get a wave, get a joy, say hello, smile first. Do things all safely and gently and wisely, but these things build your worth and joy. So I think that's all my post-it notes, my treasures. I hope you've enjoyed the Sunshine Seat. That is Bamburgh Castle. I hope you can see it. Google it, go, you will love it. It is the most magical and heavenly place on earth. And we'll finish with the Gaelic blessing. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being the sunshine. There's the point. And remember that a balanced life is not something that you manage all the time. You'll get afternoons where things are balanced. You'll get a snapshot of a good hour. You might even get a good week. If you have a good balanced week, well done. And then you can maybe have 2. Rachie, go! It's lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. I think you might like to listen to this on replay, Rach. But this is the Sunshine Seat. We've just got it recovered. And there's a nice story about boundaries with it too. I think you'll appreciate it. So count your blessings, but be the blessing. There's the thing. It's a balance always. And I think if you're doing that, you're doing very well. Protect your health, your energy, your loved ones, and your hours. Live. It's lovely to see you. This is the Sunshine Seat. There you are. I'll give you both views. The dog slept right through. Rachie Carter, gorgeous to have you. Oh, lovely, lovely. Sometimes people don't show up that they're listening, so I don't know if you're here. Bit late today. Well, we're thrilled to have you, Liv. Go gently, my friends. Count your blessings. See if you can give me... Let's do this weekend a bank holiday challenge of listing 100 blessings. I'll start that off after this, and then you can do your own, and you can also do me your own lists of achievements. That'd be a lovely thing to do. Don't share them with anybody. Keep them for you. Learn them, memorise them, build your own worth and joy. And remember, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. Take care, my friends. Be safe.